What's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, at BoxingWave10. We have a lot to talk about this morning. First off, I want to shout out to all of the new subscribers. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. All of the longtime supporters or any supporter of the channel as well. We had another successful night. We had a good time last night, and the live commentary I did. There was a lot of viewers in there. A lot of people stuck around, even though with all of the mess through ESPN last night, it was a complete mess. It took a while to get to the fight, but we got through it, and we had a good time. The chat room was lit last night. We had a fun time. So shout out to all the people that support the channel, man. Really humbled by it, and we're gonna keep it pushing. All right. The fight last night. It's a lot I want to address with that fight. Okay, I want to give you a review and what I think the guys should do, both fighters should do moving forward. All right. But first, ESPN got to do better with boxing. They have to figure it out, because last night a lot of people was confused and didn't know how to watch the fight. ESPN there's so many different ESPNs. There's ESPN Plus, which you pay a subscription to get exclusive content. So when you think that you pay that subscription, and I've been subscribed to ESPN Plus for a couple years now, ever since Bud and Lomachenko's been fighting on Top Rank, and they made it, a subscription-based thing. I've been subscribed to them. It's been a few years now. It's very confusing when you subscribe to ESPN. If you have to check whether or not it's going to be on regular ESPN or ESPN Plus. In order to watch content on regular ESPN, you have to have some sort of cable provider. You have to sign into your cable provider to watch regular ESPN. ESPN Plus is subscription based, it's exclusive content, but it doesn't give you access to everything that's on regular ESPN. All right, so it's very, very confusing. The preliminary fights was on ESPN Plus. The main fights were on regular ESPN. So there are a lot of people out there that actually paid for the ESPN Plus subscription, but didn't have access to the fight. So ESPN, do better. I actually tweeted at them this morning. I know they're not going to read my tweet or care, but I think more boxing fans need to tweet them about this issue. All right, because this is a big issue. All right, very confusing. So the fight, Kell Brook gets stopped in 4 rounds. A lot of people are saying that Kell Brook lost simply because he's damaged goods. He is damaged goods, and that's the only reason why Bud wins. A lot of people are not impressed with that win, okay? Regardless of how people felt before the fight, there were a lot of people that thought Kell Brook was going to win that fight, especially after the weigh-in. He made weight. He looked strong at the weigh-in. He looked strong warming up before the fight. He was obviously bigger, muscular, than Crawford. A lot of people felt that Kell Brook was going to pull off the upset last night, okay? And even without all that, there were a lot of people out there that just thought Kell Brook was going to win simply because Terrence Crawford just wasn't proven at 147. They just thought Kell Brook was the better fighter simply because of that. And that's a fair assessment. It's fair. Now I thought Bud would win, but by decision. I didn't think Bud was going to stop him. All right? But I knew Bud was going to win the fight. I think what I saw in this fight, and it's proven to me, and whatever I believed about Crawford before this fight, I still believed in going into this fight. Crawford is a master at adjusting. It's just different levels. Brook, with all the tools that he has, the skill set, the IQ that he has, the experience that he has, there's levels to this. There's levels, you know? And Brook has quick hands. He can crack. He has a beautiful jab, a beautiful 1-2. He moves well. He has great timing. He's a very good counterpuncher. All right? Has a good lead left hook. Has a good uppercut. You know, he's a physically strong fighter. Doesn't have many flaws. All right? But Crawford is just too versatile. He can literally do everything. And he's a master at making adjustments. Okay? He is like a computer in there. All right? I know a lot of people were saying that about Lomachenko. People said that about Floyd Mayweather. Crawford is a master at adjusting to his opponent. Whatever you're doing that's working for you, I'm going to take that away, or I'm going to use it against you. And Crawford has proven that throughout his whole career. But he's gotten better and better and better and better at it. Okay? And he showed it last night. Crawford always had a slow start. He was always a slow starter. You know, I thought Brook was edging it in the first few rounds, but it wasn't much going on. But Brook was doing better with his jab. He was landing the straight right hands. But at some point, Bud started out as a righty. He adjusted to southpaw, what we seen him do plenty of times. Crawford wants to just figure you out. And I think that's why he's a slow starter. I don't think he's a slow starter because he's just not good in the early rounds. No, he's a slow starter because he wants to figure you out first before he goes for the kill. That's it. And once he got a few jabs in, you know, Kell was landing some jabs, some like right hands. Bud is saying, okay, I figured you out. Now I'm inching. If you guys watch the fight, Bud starts inching closer and closer towards Kell Brook. All right? And he's looking to set up that right hand. You know, and it was a beautiful right hook counter, connected flush. It was quick. Brook didn't see it coming, and he didn't know where he was at. He didn't know what was going on. When he got caught with it, he stumbled over. Probably the hardest punch he's ever felt. He stumbled over. You know, he recovered barely, but Bud was able to finish him off, you know? And it was a wrap, you know? And look, the problem with all of this, because everybody's comparing his performance against Spence right now. Not so much Triple G, because Triple G was at 160. But when comparing it to Spence, Spence adjusted as well, okay? But Spence adjusted in a different way. See, Spence was playing the chess match against Brook early, but he was losing the chess match. So Spence adjusted and made it a dogfight. I'm just going to beat you up. I'm just going to outwork you. And in between that, he happened to land a hard shot that fractured Brook's eye socket. The other one that was already damaged in the previous fight he had with Triple G. And he was able to win the fight, stop Brook. But it was very competitive, a lot more competitive than this fight was, obviously. He adjusted, but in a different way. Bud adjusted by outsmarting him and catching him with a really clean, hard shot. And Brook just couldn't take it. And I think is when I look at these people that's reacting to this fight and they just saying he was weight drained, he was damaged goods, all of this stuff. And I'm like, you guys are totally ignoring what we're seeing in the ring. You guys are totally ignoring what Bud was doing as a technical fighter. You guys are totally ignoring what he was doing to get to that one punch. You blame it on him being damaged. You blame it on his weight being drained, being slow, and all this stuff. No, the guy knew what he was doing. If you watch their interview that they did together, right? Because they spoke to each other together later that evening. Look it up. They both were speaking to each other. And Bud is saying, I knew what you were trying to do. He was explaining to Brook, I knew what you were trying to do. And, he's joking. He's a really cocky dude. He is. But he was being real. He said, you're a good counterpuncher. I know what you were trying to do. You were trying to counter me. And he was breaking down what he was doing and how he was setting him up. It's like Canelo against Floyd. Canelo was trying to counter Floyd. Canelo was trying, he wasn't trying to, bully Floyd and use his size against Floyd. No, Canelo was trying to outbox Floyd. He was trying to counter Floyd. But he kept getting countered with his counters. Canelo would counter him, miss, and get countered. Because there's different levels to this. Brook is very, very good. And I said this in my breakdown. Brook is very, very good at what he does. But we know exactly what he does. We know exactly what he does. Crawford, you can't he doesn't do the same thing every fight. So you don't know what he's going to do. There's different levels to this. And that's what I was trying to explain in the breakdown. Crawford, I picked him simply because, not because of weight, not because of, everybody's just talking about size. You pick a fight based on size. Kell Brook is going to come in as 170. You can't pick a fight simply because of that. I'm not saying size is not a factor, because it could be a factor in a fight. But there's plenty of times where the smaller guy beats the bigger guy because he's simply more talented. And I really don't think it's much to it. Crawford beat him because he is a better talent. And he beat him quicker than the other guys because he is a better talent. Brook, even with the stoppage against Triple G, even with the eye socket and everything, he was still doing well boxing with Triple G. It's just that Triple G was bigger, stronger, and he overwhelmed Brook. But Brook was boxing well in those rounds. But Crawford didn't try to outwork him. He didn't try to outsize him or bully him or anything like that. I'm going to set you up with a hard counter that you're not going to see coming. And those are the punches that hurt the most, the ones you don't see coming. And that's why he lost the fight. That's why Brook lost the fight. And this is why he lost it quicker than the Triple G fight. Now, if Brook was more in his prime, I don't know how the fight would go if Brook was undefeated when Bud fought him. I don't know how that. There's no way to really determine that. Like, people are going to say, well, he's washed up, he's damaged. If he was younger, he might have did better. I mean, there's a good chance he probably would have done better. But there's no way to determine. All we can do is base things off what we see the night of the fight. Brook looked strong before the fight. Brook looked strong in the first few rounds. He looked quick. He was doing well. He was boxing people well. People were texting me. If you was here on a live commentary, a friend of mine who was a boxer texting me, hey, the way this fight is going, I think Bud is going to get knocked out. 5 minutes later, Brook is damaged goods. This is a boxer that's texting me. You know, it's just people are not giving credit to this dude, and it's very unfair. No matter what he does, people are going to discredit his wins all the time because a lot of fans are fans of fighters. They're not fans of the sweet science. They're not fans of the sport. That's the problem. They are hardcore followers of specific fighters. They're not hardcore fans of the sport. So if you're a hardcore Errol Spence fan, Danny Garcia fan, you know, or a Kell Brook fan, I don't know, you know, or a fighter in a different weight division, you know, if you're mad at the pound for pound status of him being pound for pound number one, which a lot of people are mad at, you're going to hate on that. You're going to hate on him for something. But he's doing what he can. He is doing what he could do with the fighters that are in there. And these are good fighters. Velasquez is a good fighter. Kell Brook was a good fighter. You know? These guys are good fighters. Are there better fighters in the division? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But when you compare his performance, he always makes it look easier than all of the other guys. Same thing with 140. Josh Taylor, Ramirez struggled against Victor Postol. Terrence Crawford made it look easy. He made it look easy. He didn't get a knockout, but he made it look a lot easier than those two guys fighting an older Victor Postol. Same thing with Gamboa. I made a post. This guy fought Gamboa 6 years ago. 6 years ago. But Tank is struggling in some point in the fight against him in 2019. You know? Haney is going to decision. Haney secured a round. Won every round. So that's fine. But Bud was able to stop him. And this is a Gamboa from 6 years ago. And what does everybody say? Well, Terrence Crawford is big. He's big. So that's the reason why he wants to fight. Everybody is basing everything solely on size only. I don't know when that started, but we got to stop that. Like, we got to look at and see what the fighters are doing. Because Bud did the same thing in that fight. He adjusted, and he stopped them earlier than these newer guys are doing it. And Gamboa is washed up for real. Like, he's not even close to what he used to be. You know what I'm saying? So, look. Good win for Terrence Bud Crawford. I am not a boxing pound for pound argument guy. I don't care about that. He is my personal favorite fighter. I think he is the most talented fighter. All right? Based on how I see it. And that's the most that I do with it. I don't think he has the best resume in boxing. Currently, no. I don't think he has the best resume in boxing. All right? But I think he has one of the best resumes in boxing. And I think he is the most talented boxer, active boxer in the world today. All right? I think he has more tools in the shed than anybody that's currently boxing. That is my opinion. All right? I would like to see him fight Spence. I know he really wants a Pacquiao fight. I know Spence really wants the Pacquiao fight. I understand why they would want that fight, and I'm not mad at that fight, all right? But I want to see him fight Spence, because if he gets Pacquiao before Spence does, or if Pacquiao even fights, I don't think Pacquiao is going to fight either one of them personally, because Pacquiao has been out of it since last summer, hasn't fought since then, and you know, I'm not expecting him to fight Spence or Bud now, you know. I see him fighting a Mikey Garcia. I see him fighting a Conor McGregor. You know, I see him taking on one of those fights before he leaves the game. But I understand why the two of them want that fight. And that's cool. That's them. But me personally, I don't want to see any other fight than Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. I don't care what you guys think about their resumes at 147. They're both champions, and I don't want to see either one of them fight anybody else. If Spence is able to beat Danny Garcia, and hopefully he does, because I still want to see that fight between him and Bud. Hopefully he beats Danny. Hopefully he beats Danny, because that's the fight that everybody wants. If he doesn't beat Danny, well, Danny should fight Terrence Bud Crawford. All right? But I don't want to see any other fight. I don't want to see anybody. Anybody that beats Pacquiao, they're going to say Pacquiao is 42 years old. That's what they're going to say. I don't want to see that. I want to see Bud fight Spence. They're both undefeated. They should have fought already. They should have unified and fought already. But since they haven't, I want to see that before one of them loses to someone else. I want to see that fight. I don't want to miss out on that fight like we missed out with AJ and Deontay Wilder. So I want to see that fight. And if you're a Spence fan, you should want to see that fight too, because Bud is a champion in that division. And if you want Spence to really be great and really be undisputed one day, you should want that as a Spence fan. Stop making excuses on why Spence shouldn't fight Bud. Stop making those excuses. You know, oh, he's with Bob Arum, he's this, that. Nah, stop making excuses. Stop throwing other fighters in there to protect Spence from Bud, because a lot of you guys are doing it. Oh, he's ducking Sean Porter. He's always ducking someone. All Spence has to do is fight him. All Spence has to do, if you're a boxing fan, why would you not want that fight? If you are a true Spence fan or a boxing fan, because many of you are not, if you are a true boxing fan, you should want that fight, because that is the most talked about fight. If you're not including the heavyweight division, no one is talking about that fight more. No other fight more than that fight. All right, so let's make the fight. Let's stop arguing and debating between who's better, who's done better. All right, Spence as a welterweight has a better resume. Now, does he have a better resume overall? Has he completed and accomplished more than Terrence Bud Crawford career? No, he hasn't. But as a welterweight, yes, he has a better resume. But I don't care about that no more, because they both have titles. They're both undefeated. Everybody want to see them face each other. Stop making excuses for the reason why the fight shouldn't happen. That is the dumbest. It's just ridiculous at this point. Make the fight. Make the fight. And I'm not even basing it on Crawford beating Kell Brook quicker than Spence. I don't care about that neither. I'm just saying the energy is the same, has been the same since the moment Bud stepped up to 147. As soon as he stepped up and beat Jeff Horn and made it look easy, another fighter that he made look easy compared to Manny Pacquiao. Even if you think Manny Pacquiao got robbed, Spence made it look easy again. He makes everybody look easy, but they're all damaged. It doesn't matter. They're all nobodies as soon as he beats them. So let's cut the talk. Let these two fight. And let's have a treat. Let them make it pay-per-view. I'll pay $100. I don't care. Whatever you guys want to price it. But I want to see it fight. I don't care if the undercard is crappy. I don't care if they fight without an audience, with an audience. I don't care what they do. But as a boxing fan, a true fan of the sport, I want to see that fight more than any other fight right now. They are both undefeated. Before we have any other issues, you know, Spence was in a car accident. Before we have any other accidents or any other losses or any other whatever, let's get the fight now while they're both fresh. Hopefully Spence is fresh. Hopefully Spence wins against Danny Garcia. But if Danny Garcia beats him, then I want to see Crawford against Danny, because I want to see undisputed in every division. I want to see all the champions fight each other. The Porter fight is cool, but I don't need to see that first. That's a good fight, but I don't want to see it first. I want to see Spence first. Because he beats Porter, then, well, Kell Brook beat Porter. Keith Thurman beat Porter. Spence beat Porter. That's what you guys are going to say. He beats Pacquiao. Well, Pacquiao's 42 years old. You always going to have an issue. People were throwing Ugas out there. I said this yesterday in the chat room. Like, where does these Ugas people come from? You guys would never, I never heard none of these, not just the channels, but fans. Where do you guys get Ugas from? You guys wasn't talking about Ugas when he was at 140, taking losses. Ugas came a boogeyman overnight because he had a tough fight with Sean Porter. He had a tough fight. Now he's some kind of like boogeyman. Like, he's good. I like him. But you guys are making like Bud got to go through him first. See, that's when you know people got an agenda. When they go that far to say you got to fight a Ugas. You know, Kell Brook wasn't damaged goods when Spence fought him, but he's damaged good when Bud fights him. That's people, anybody that's telling you that has an agenda. They're not a real boxing fan. They are a boxer fan. They are a fanboy. They're a hater. Straight like that. We should be getting that fight. Kell Brook. People are talking retirement. If he chooses to retire, I understand. If he doesn't retire, I don't think he has to retire. I just think he lost to someone that is better than him. You know? I think he lost to the best fighter in the world. So he doesn't have to retire. If he sticks around, maybe he can finally secure the Amir Khan fight. I mean, they both lost to Bud. They're both at the later stage in their career. And I think that fight is still a really big fight, especially out in the UK. The British fans would love that fight. You know? So that fight is still a thing. Or even other fights in the division. You know, Kell Brook, if he is going to continue fighting, stay in shape and stay at 147. Don't go up anymore. Stay at 147 because you still have a name and you can still secure some kind of fight with somebody at 147. You know? I would still love to see Kell Brook against Keith Thurman. I would love to see that fight. I still want to see it. You know, people say Keith Thurman don't really got it like that no more. I think he's past his prime. I don't think he's retirement level, but I think he's past his prime due to the injuries and the inactivity. But I would still love to see him fight Kell Brook. You know? I just hope if Kell Brook stay at 147 because he could still pick up a big win if he stays down there. Just my opinion. All right? You're not done for losing to the best fighter in the world. You're not done. You know, many people believe he's the best fighter in the world, not just me. That's just not a bias. That's many people. I'm not even talking about pound for pound. Many people think he's the best fighter in the world. You know, so that's not a bad loss. Triple G wasn't a bad loss. You went to 160 and got beat up. You fought one of the best welterweights right after that and lost. You lost to who many believe is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. You lost. Look at the people you're losing to. You know? You didn't lose to Michael Zarafa, DeLuca. You didn't lose to Sean Porter when you faced him. You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter, I mean, I don't even know why I said that because that doesn't make sense. But yeah, you didn't lose to someone that's washed up or someone that's not at an elite level. Every person you lost to was in a pound for pound list. Errol is in a lot of people's top 5. Triple G was in a lot of people's top 5. Same thing with Bud. That's not a reason to retire. So if you want to continue on, then continue on. If you want to retire at this point, then retire. You know, but that's up to Brook. I don't think he's done. I just think that he lost to really good fighters. And I don't know how I don't know how they can't see it that way. You know, they're looking at size. They're looking at what he's damaged and his injuries. Like, do you guys think that's boxing boxing is just about size now? Like, where did that come from? When did that start? When did that start? I don't know. All right. Anyway, I think I addressed everything here. Again, salute to all the new subscribers, all the longtime supporters of the channel. All right. I'm very easy to get to. You know, that's why I'm making more use of my Twitter account, my Instagram account. And you guys definitely have been reaching out to me on there directly, which is cool. So if you want to, leave comments. If you want to hit me up on social media, either is fine. Definitely hit me up, send me an email. And thank you for all of the donators as well. Thank you for anyone that has liked the video of mine. Appreciate all the support. Very humbled by it. I always say that. Right? Always going to stay humbled by it. All right? Anyway, I'm out of here, man. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.